My name's Deshawn. I'm working on the audio implementation on Hellish Scrub, and this is going to be my spotlight feature over all the things that I've been doing. All right, so to start, we have the Fmod banks here in Unity. Let's say I wanted to implement the heat system, for example. I would go to this event, I would take its path, and place it into my audio manager object that I have here. And if you scroll to here, we have a bank of sounds and their related Fmod pathway. Uh, Basically, we have a dictionary, or I guess I have a dictionary that I use for this. Every single sound you hear in game is run through this. They have a code, just a string of text that we use to refer to them. Say if I wanted to add the heat again, I would just hit this plus here. I'll name that heat 2 or something. Sure, 2. And you just paste the events, path, and that's basically it. Here's the actual script for that. We have all the individual audio buses, and that's how I go about controlling the volume whenever we call them from code. We have a play method for just random one-shot events, things like footsteps. I believe we run the heat meter through that as well. And we have different sounds we made an instance for. Things like the player swipe, that's something that doesn't work quite as well as just a one-shot, especially because it has different sounds based on whether or not you've actually hit something. Of course, we need a method for releasing these instances to not clog up all the space and make the game run poorly. This stop is just for the general sounds, like things that you use with the regular play method that we have in there. We also have a bunch of different sounds with parameter sheets. Like for example, the trash balls will have a different speed of gross noise, basically based off how fast it's going. Originally, this was actually a global parameter, but that didn't work very well, so I separated the two, and now it just gets handled with this regular modify parameter method. And this is the instance play I was talking about. It basically attaches itself to an Fmod emitter that exists on a game object. You'll see them here on the audio manager, just for example. This is where we have the lava ambience and the heat meter. Like that whole audio stuff actually rests inside of this audio manager rather than on the player. It just helps. So it's a constant present thing, and we don't have to worry about whether or not the specific player is actually there. If I go to the player, that's a good example. They've got a ton of emitters. From what I can see, it doesn't have any performance costs. You just check to see if the event's ID is the same as the one that is contained in the audio manager. And if that ID matches, that means the emitter exists and you can play the event and everything should be just fine. There's the point emitter, and that's actually in the player. And there are a bunch of different, basically, kind of requirements for different point sound effects. So the more you score at any given time, the better sound effect you'll get, basically. We have an announcer voice in the back, kind of, that will basically belt out, like, oh, nice, good job, good job. Kind of encourage you to score more at once so you can actually hear the better sound effects. Um, Outside of that, I would say the most difficult part of putting this in is probably determining where to actually put the emitters, because they will play from wherever you put them at. And it's just kind of difficult deciding what sounds should be constant and ever present, like the heat meter, or should be something that's spawned and despawned at will, like the player footsteps. Like those are just played over and over on a cooldown. Basically, those are the most basic sounds that we have. I mean, outside of all of that stuff, it's really pretty easy to add new sound effects. Like I've shown that already. It's very simple to do. And let's say, just as an example, um, for the player swipe, for example, we have the swipe play whenever something actually hits. So like the hit variant of our swipe noise will play when you're actually hitting something. But in our general swiping method, it's down here, we play the miss sound effect instead, just to give a little bit of feedback with stuff like that. Uh, it's not very complex, but I've tried to tool it the best I can so that we are pretty flexible with how we want to add sound effects. But outside of that, I think that might actually be it. Thank you, and please have a lot of fun playing Hellish Scrub.